Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Kevin, and look at this beautiful blue sky day here in Central Florida. It's about 92 degrees, and I actually got a phone call from my buddy Aaron, and he's stuck out here in the forest in Central Florida, and who better to call than this vehicle right here. So obviously this truck's not going to pull him out. This truck barely will pull itself out of the mud, but what I did bring was a couple sets of traction boards. So he doesn't think that he's stuck bad enough that we're going to need a winch or anything like that. So we should be able to get him out the traction boards, get him turned around, and hopefully back on this trail, because this one's actually really smooth. So far, every mud puddle, dip, ditch, divot has been dry. So either I'm not on the right trail or he got stuck in the only mud puddle out here in the forest. Should be coming up on him pretty soon if the pin drop is accurate. So we got 4 traction boards. These 2 on this side are pretty decent. The other ones on the other side are hard to get to. I think if we can get grip on those tires over there, it should just back itself out. Aaron's stuck right there behind me, and not that my truck has any business pulling anybody out of any kind of stuck situation, but we don't really have too many other choices. So I'm gonna see if I can put enough tension with the strap to the front of his truck to kind of just ease him out. So he's kind of just on the rear axle, and the max tracks aren't enough to lift the truck up off of its axle. So we're gonna try to pull him in the front and see if we can make any progress. Just as we started to get hooked up, saved by a Jeep again. So shout out to the Jeep owners. So luckily the Jeep showed up, made it really easy. I doubt my truck would have pulled it from the front. You can see where the rear end and the trailer hitch were dragging in the mud right there. And then the front tires couldn't quite get over that front little lip. The problem is, you go through these mud holes once, you think they're okay. The second time you come out, while you're gone, somebody with 35s, 44s, 54s, military tires came through here and dug it deeper, and then you kind of just fall into a trap. So happens to everybody. So thanks to Brandon with the Jeep, he pulled us out. There's the mud hole. I'm turning around. Brandon came from that way and said that we are clear. There's really no mud holes or anything. That was kind of like the only one that was on the trail. And Aaron, being his first time out here, happened to just find that one hole. So we're gonna turn around and go back towards the general store, which unfortunately is closed. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind getting some boiled peanuts and a nice drink from there. So even in Florida's dry months, this is how gumbo, sticky, muddy, and deep this hole is. But think about it. During the summertime, when we have tropical storms and afternoon rainstorms, the water is completely over this, and you have no idea, and you will fall into these holes, and you will have water over your center console. And I speak from experience. There's a video of me and Ron out here in our Tacomas, and I totally sank that thing. And so there goes Aaron. There goes Brandon. So most of the trails out here do have bypasses, but even in the summertime, the bypasses are generally underwater. They just don't have really deep holes or obstacles. This spot right here should look really familiar to Michael and Ron. So Michael and I came out here when I first got my 3rd gen Tacoma, and it was pretty much stock. He had an FJ Cruiser, and we came out here trail riding. I drove my truck through the water, and he happened to be off by just a couple feet and fell into a huge rut when this was all underwater, and unfortunately sank his FJ Cruiser, and had to get it towed out and stuff like that, winched, towed all the way to a gas station. Unfortunately got like water in the fuel tank and fuel lines and stuff like that, so it just ended up being a huge mess. So fast forward probably 7 or 8 months later, Ron and I come out here with our Tacomas, and this place was totally underwater, and we did know where Michael got stuck was the worst spot on this trail route here. And unfortunately someone came through here with really big tires, probably a mud truck or something like that, and just totally just dug it out. So I went pretty slow, didn't have really much momentum, but I just wanted to make sure I had traction, and if I felt the front end dip, I was just going to stop, put it in reverse, that way we didn't have any issues. But yeah, the bottom gave out, and I sank the Tacoma, and water was pretty much up to the top of the seats in the truck. There was so much water in there. And I get a lot of questions on the newer videos when we go out and have fun in the forest. The silver Tacoma is always in 2-wheel drive, and it's always getting stuck. And mainly that's because I sank the truck on that trip, and ever since then the 4-wheel drive has not worked. I've replaced the actuators. We've taken the actuators apart, soldered them, cleaned them. I've taken the actuator off the transfer case, manually selected 4-wheel drive, high, low, 2-wheel drive, all that stuff. So the transfer case mechanically works, but there's an electrical problem from when I sank the truck. So we got a lot of lights on the dash, and it flashes. We've had computers and stuff hooked up to the truck that's supposed to tell us what part of the system is failing, so we can replace that part, and the computers can't even tell us. So instead of just keep throwing money at it, you know, with actuators and computers and stuff like that, I think Ron's actually going to manual transfer case swap it. So he's going to take the transfer case out of I think it's the FJ Cruiser, manual one, and it'll bolt up. He just has to cut a hole through his floorboard for the manual stick for the center console. So once he gets enough parts for that, should have 4-wheel drive working in Ron's Tacoma. Other than that, it's a really good running Tacoma, and just a nice truck. Unfortunately, the 4-wheel drive is not working. So if you ever want to come out here in the wintertime or in a dry season, and there's not too much mud, but do avoid the holes if you're not prepared to do a self-recovery, or you don't have somebody with you that can pull you out, because you will be framed out in a matter of seconds. Because like I said, people come out here with like 44-inch tires, and if you come out here with anything less, you're just going to be sitting on your frame for a couple hours till someone comes out. So that's my advice. But yeah, this looks so much easier and a little more filled in when it's dry. When it gets wet, there's actually a creek that goes through here, and in the video where Ron and I got stuck, there's fish swimming by us and everything. It's pretty funny. So I got both sets of recovery boards strapped down to the bed cover on the truck. Fortunately, I did not have to pull Aaron out with this thing. It's not built for that. I mean, honestly, it doesn't even have a frame, so I can't really snatch him out or anything. I can just put a little bit of tension on it, and hopefully his tires would have grabbed something. But yeah, luckily Brandon showed up in his Jeep, pulled us out. So if you guys want to watch the whole recovery video, follow Aaron's channel. He's got some videos of him being stuck out here, and some camping videos in Florida and the Carolinas and stuff like that. So give him a follow if you enjoy stuff like that. Otherwise, I'm going to try to get out of this forest without getting stuck in mud, hung up on a root or a stump or something like that.